This is Decent for We the People News. So, again, this lady right here, I really like because of the way she teaches Constitution and all that kind of stuff. In order to understand what's all going on around us, we do need to kind of get a basic line of understanding of what's going on. The best way to do it is actually kind of dig in with the Constitution and see what the cause and effect of the action is going on around you. Now this guy that she's going to be speaking of, now I vaguely remember him a little bit as a senator, and it seemed to me that he is actually a really good senator as senators go, right? And this videos consist of for the people that want to vote. Okay, as I go on and start to understand everything that's going on around me, it's amazing how little voting actually goes in actual production. Right? It's more, for me, it's more like a tease. They're teasing you. But it seems to me like the Democrats and Republicans of the stages and all that have everything lined up for their benefit. And even though we vote, it really doesn't count. Or it gets lost in the computer system and misleads the numbers. Again, when we're talking about martial law, which I think we're still in effect of, since Civil War's never ended, World War II's never ended, we got war on drugs, that's all martial law stuff. And that's martial law 3. We get to move about and all that, but they still have territories. Alright? So, if you still believe in voting, this may be someone to consider. Not endorsing him. However, from my experience of my knowledge, I can remember he was actually really pretty good as the senator-wise, according to the game plans, right? So he was more against a lot of things that others was for. Okay, if you ask me, he was better than Tim Cruz, as constitutionally trying to get the liberties back. Alright, so again, I don't know if he's going to win. You know, Greg Abbott's got all this support, and he's more for the federal government than for his state. And we need a governor for the state power, not for the federal to have power over us. And I think he'd be more in line of taking our states back from the government than Greg Abbott is. You know, he's against Biden on face value, but he doesn't never act the 10th Amendment. You know, what does that tell you? It tells you that he's playing games on TV and misleading people, and he's always been a kind of a what would you call it? A Federalist, I guess. But anyway, I'll stop right there. And I'll apologize with this phone. Sometimes it works real great, and other times it don't.
I have never met, well, never, not never. I have rarely on my hand met a politician that would be willing to get on camera with me. Without preparation, without scripting, without telling me what questions I could ask and couldn't ask, right? Am I wrong? So, for me, this impresses me, okay? So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and play the interview, that interview that we did with Mr. Huffiness. Just welcome, liberty-loving patriots. Chrisanne Hall here with Don Huffiness running for governor of the great state of Texas. We are so honored to be in Texas. You know, we've been doing our Texas tour here, just finished teaching the Texas sheriffs there in Palo Pinto, and I am honored to be here with you, with Mr. Huffiness. Thank you for giving us your time today.
No, thank you, Chris Ann, and welcome to Texas. Back to Texas.
Back to Texas, yes, sir. We had a really great conversation today, and we thought, hey, what the heck, let's sit down and shoot a little interview so we can share what we learned with you. And I want to thank you for your time today. It's been a blessing to us.
Well, great. And the same to you. Thank you for your time, something you're never going to get back.
No, it's been a blessing, so it's going to double fold for us. But, you know, Mr. Huffiness, we actually have people who listen all over the country, who watch us all over the country, even internationally. And so one of the things that we talked about that I wanted to ask you, you mentioned, why is the Texas governor so important to everyone in America?
Well, it's real simple, and it's about liberty. It's about state sovereignty, and that's what my campaign is going to prove, is that how sovereign a state can really be.
Right.
And we haven't had that in really since the 1800s in the United States of America. And it's what we're lacking. I mean, the first step to get there, as we discussed, is with a courageous governor. You have to be courageous with the right leadership. And that's why I tell a lot of people, and I usually start my interviews out by pointing to people that this primary for governor, this is a Republican primary for governor of the state of Texas, is probably, it is the most important election in the country in 22, and it could be one of the most important elections in the history of the United States. For instance, if you want to secure the border, the international border with Mexico, we know the federal government is never going to do it, never has done it. The only chance we have to have a secure international border of Mexico is with a courageous governor of Texas is going to act unilaterally, using our Constitution to seal the border off and to get control of it and get the cartels out of the money-making business of human smuggling. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to enact Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution, which clearly gives a governor the authority to do what they need to do to stop this invasion. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the military, secure our side of the river, close all the 25 bridges off for inbound commercial traffic, and solicit other states' support in that process. And let me tell you, I will never, ever ask permission from the federal government to secure the Texas border.
That is awesome. Let me tell you, I have sat with Mr. Huffiness now for over an hour having this conversation. When he uses those terms, liberty, when he uses those terms, state sovereignty, they have depth, people. I just want you to know that he's not the guy that's out there just saying this. I've actually tested his depth in that. Let me ask you this other question. When you mentioned state sovereignty, what is your vision for the prosperity of Texas through the true acting of a sovereign state?
Well, look, I think that Texas is going to be extremely prosperous going forward. And I do like to use this analogy, is that our paradigm of the past and the present doesn't dictate our future. Under my administration, you're going to see incredible prosperity, economic liberty brought to a level you've never seen it. And what I often say in my speeches, we have a lighthouse of liberty, and we're going to blind the socialists from New York to San Francisco down to the swamp in Austin. And we're going to show them what that liberty really means, economic liberty, our personal liberty. When I abolish all property tax in Texas, it'll take 10 years, we're going to phase it out. The wealth it creates is unimaginable.
Okay, abolish property tax. It is actually unconstitutional by state and federal. Okay, the 14th Amendment is what is the cause and effect of it. So in essence, what he needs to do is do not accept the 14th Amendment. Matter of fact, in Georgia, actually recognizes on the books, the 14th Amendment was never legally ratified. And I don't have the paperwork on hand anymore, but if anybody wants to research it, it is a pain because they want to keep things hidden from us, right? Every single government wants to keep things hidden from us. But it does exist that Georgia does not accept the 14th Amendment, even though they do 14th Amendment activities, right? And that goes for the simple fact they still don't want the people of Georgia to know this. So anybody hears me on Georgia, look this up. And anytime that you get a ticket here, you get taxes there, this all comes from the 14th Amendment. And you pull that paper out recognizing that they don't accept the 14th Amendment in that state, there's a lot of and I'm looking for the word to say it. A lot of redress that you can get from that, right? Look, you guys don't accept the 14th Amendment. These land taxes is 14th Amendment involvement. So if if the state don't recognize the 14th Amendment, it does not recognize the state land taxes, right? Now, the problem I have with him right now, he says 10 years. But it should not be 10 years, and it should not be faded out. So this part I have a problem with. It's a stroke of the pen canceling it. Yeah, and I think in general, saying we'll phase it out is getting everybody ready for the township and of every corner of Texas, right? And they'll go into a state of shock with all this money they spend, and then they lose all that money on taxes on the land. How's they going to get money to pay their debt? And I think the reason why he says 10 years is, to tell the, township that, okay, you got this amount of time order to get your finances in order. Because once this is abolished, then you're not going to have that income. Okay? Now, we can talk about schools and all that kind of stuff and this, that, here, and there. Well, people, all I got to say is maybe be able to support yourself. Donate to your schools. They have kids going door to door, and in some states it's illegal to cicillate. You know the word I'm talking about. However, when a kid does it for a school, it's okay. So it's okay for them to break a law because it benefits the school, but it's not okay for anybody else to do it, right? Anyway, there's a bunch of different ways, and it's been done in the past. We just forgotten how to survive this way, right? The states have forgotten how to do it. The townships forgotten how to do it. But it's been done. Okay? So you guys can take this with a grain of salt, however you want to look at it. But if you don't have taxes on your land, it's a raise on your paycheck. Look at it that way. You just got a raise. Maybe $1 land, a raise an hour, maybe $2 an hour. It just depends on your taxes on your land. But it's still a raise on your paycheck. Alright, I went too far with that.
And I tell everyone in Texas, just close your eyes for a minute and imagine what you could do with all that money when you don't have to pay it to the government. Texans are tired of renting their homes from the government and never owning any real estate or any property in our whole country. And I didn't tell you all this, but a lot of people tell me that, well, no, every state's got property tax, and how are you going to do that? And I get excited. I say, yeah, finally, Texas is going to be the leader in something. Right. And I tell you, in the huffiness administration, we're going to get our swagger back in Texas.
Well, I'm encouraged because, through our studies and our teachings, we understand human nature, we understand history, we know how this works, and all it really takes is one with the courage to stand, and others will follow. Those of you who follow us regularly, who are students here at Liberty First University, you know that property tax is something that we have been trying to educate people on, and you're absolutely right. restoring true ownership, dominion, and control over property is really going to be leading the way to helping people really understand.
I said this in the past on a video. She brought up the true ownership, right? Which is the reason why I really like her, because it kind of aligns with the constitutions I study, right? Taxes, all it is a lease. You don't own your property, you're leasing your property. So if you think you could go out there and say you're a homeowner and your house is paid off and this, that, here, and there, no. You do not own your property, and your property is not paid off. You're leasing that property for the rest of your life. Alright? You might as well just go rent a house instead of making payments, because you're never going to own it. Now, there's ways of doing it, and it's kind of deeper in debt how to do these things, and it's a pain. But if he can just get in there and cancel all this, that just makes it a lot easier to be able to pay you, be able to own your property. Remember, y'all, anytime that you got to pay government to do anything, you have no freedom.
The true life, liberty, pursuit of happiness that our founders had in mind.
Amen. That's so true. And I tell you this, if people ask me, aren't you worried about where the government's going to get more money in this? I said, I'm more interested in how Texans' pursuit of happiness than I am the government's pursuit of happiness.
This is not your first service in government, right? So you were also senator here in Texas?
That is correct. From 14 to 18, I was a Texas senator for one term. Mm-hmm. I was defeated by the Democrats. I represented Dallas County, the north half of Dallas County, down in Austin, the state legislature.
So you actually have a record of being in.
So that's funny, y'all. Democrats at one time was for freedom and all that kind of stuff, right? And then they just keep wanting people that believes in taxes. So they got rid of a guy that didn't believe in taxes to vote in people that believe in taxes. So there you go, Dallas. Thank yourselves.
In the Senate taking these kinds of liberty stance.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
I was always ranked the most conservative, or one of the most conservative top 3 in the Texas Senate when I was there and when I was in Austin.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. It has been a true pleasure to sit down and talk to you, and especially to hear somebody with depth on understanding of state sovereignty, understanding the true concepts of liberty, which must begin with real property ownership. You can't have liberty without property ownership, and I'm excited about the opportunity that Texans have to see that reality in the state of Texas, which I know will lead the way for the rest of the country. So let me shake your hand and say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell everybody how they find you, how they get in touch with you?
Sure. We'll go to donhuffines.com. Donhuffines.com is spelled Huffines, as you can see behind me. And let me just reemphasize again that with Texas leading the way, we will change the United States. We're going to change the history of this country. And when I say our greatest days are coming, I mean it. It's going to be a new day. Our time is now. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and let me just point out to you that those of you who are listening, that this is the duty and the power of the office of the governor. We saw the office of the governor of South Dakota make changes throughout the country, lead the way during the shutdowns, and we're seeing governors get their courage back. And I'm so excited to be sitting here with you and seeing that Texas has the opportunity to have a real governor with real courage, with real understanding of liberty, and the strength and the wisdom to take it forward. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. And my company's my campaign's tagline is leadership, no excuses.
Amen. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this brief little impromptu interview. We'll see you later. Let me just repeat to you that there was no scripting there. I didn't give him any questions in advance, so everything that he answered was right then and there. And we are just presenting this information to you so that you can make a decision that needs to be made in Texas, and you can encourage others around the country to make the right decisions.
I don't think anything you hear with that guy is a script.
Okay, there we go. So all you voters out there, now he sounds more of a libertarian type of guy than a Republican, but because they don't vote for libertarians in Texas, because, well, Texans are, dare I say it, a little bit on the unknowledgeable side. Study the Constitution, y'all. And study the state constitution. And find out where the federal constitution and the state constitution conflicts against one another, alright? The Second Amendment of the state of Texas is in conflict of the federal government. And it cannot do that. Alright? We're allowed to have Constitution of the state, but Constitution of the state cannot conflict with the federal law, but it can give more freedom, not take freedom, right? And the more we understand these things, the better off we, the people, can be. And I just want to kind of bring out that I don't dislike Abbott. Alright, he's done a lot of neat things. Okay, he kind of helped open up the open and carry, which we shouldn't have to be going through that process, but the process is still there, and he went on the good side of it, and demanded for the representative in the state senate to proceed forward on the open and carry. The Constitution carry. They say Constitution carry. It's not a Constitution carry, y'all. However, you can call it what it is. It was leading into the right direction. So there is certain things I do like about him. But remember, the government don't like to give up all their power. And I don't know if this guy is going to be any good or not. But if it's not working for us now, we got to, let's just go with argument's sake. We got a good governor now. Well, why don't we try a better one? Or at least see if there's a better one out there, right? Why do we have to always look straight forward when we can look all around us and see what the cause and effect of the actions would be, right? Okay, I would like to see some type of governor actually confiscate our land back and get rid of that 100-mile square radius of the border area, right? Now, they can do whatever they want to do on the border fence line. The problem and the issue I have is that 100 miles. That 100 miles of Texas, all the way around Texas, is confiscated land by the federal government, and it is a territory. Now, you guys can call it whatever you want to do, and call it what it is, or call it not what it is. The fact still remains that it's a territory. Corpus Christi has no right to vote because it's in a territory. Now, they do vote, and apparently they can vote, but constitutionally speaking, they can't vote. The Supreme Court says that people in Washington can vote, but Washington, D.C. is not part of the state union. It's the federal government union, which anybody in that 10 miles can't vote. But the Supreme Court, once again, was wrong. Okay? Alrighty, so this is Diesel for We the People News. Hope you guys appreciate it. check him out on his website, yell it out, and see what you guys want to do about it. Again, do your research. You know, if we can find something better, then why not have something better, right? Why do we have to always just bank on one particular guideline? Right? Yeah, well, he did a good job. Well, we don't want to get rid of him. He did a really, really good job. How about if we can try to find somebody that does an awesome job? Right? Why can't we look for somebody who can do better? Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results, is insane. True definition, y'all. Think about it. Alright, bye, y'all.